the point at which they do regain control of the vessel, 35 minutes have passed since my umbilical was snapped. So obviously, with 9 minutes of breathing gas, that's quite a long time. They were then, though, able to move back towards my position. Dave, who'd managed to make his way back to the bell, he was sitting on we have a little stage underneath. He'd been sat there sort of chomping at the bit to come back and help me, but because he only has a 50-meter umbilical, he simply isn't able to do so until they're close enough, and also until he's allowed to do so because the vessel is under control. We couldn't have just let him loose, otherwise we'd have had 2 divers down there. But when the time does come, they, as I mentioned, with the diving bell limits, they did lower the bell down to I think just 2 meters above, which or just enough so that the swell wasn't touching down. Touching the structure. That made his job a lot easier in terms of not that it was easy, but a lot in an effort to make it easier for him to bring me back. And indeed, it was a Herculean effort, as I say there. So again, this is real footage from the evening. You can see Dave arriving in on the left-hand side. The first thing he does is, I mentioned we have buoyancy to our jackets, so we have a jacket that we can inflate. So he removes the hose, which he would use to inflate his jacket, and he pushes it up my neck dam. So we have a sort of rubber seal around our necks to stop the water going in that clamps into the helmet. So he does that in an effort to try and give me something to breathe. And you see him pushing it in. He says as he climbed up, that probably came out. But again, one of the very fine margins, which may well have saved my life, a little supply of breathing gas into the helmet, or to even just to remove the carbon dioxide. He checked that my umbilical, which was lying over the side, wasn't going to catch as he tried to bring me back, and he then clips himself onto me. He carry a little lanyard for that exact reason, and turns and tries to climb back up to the bell. Now the bell is obviously moving up and down as the waves move up and down. As you can see, I'm 6'5" and I weigh a little more than I should, to be honest. And with all that diving gear, it's a heavy weight, and I'd had no buoyancy at all. Normally, you'd have inflate my buoyancy to make his life easier, and he couldn't inflate his own either because he'd very generously tried to give me a gas supply. So it was a very, very difficult thing to do. He is an immensely fit guy. He's one of these sort of rock climbing types, very good upper body. He's quite lithe, lightweight, but he's very, very fit. And he says himself that he was on the verge of not being able to do it. I think he managed to get me onto the stage at the last go. You can see it there being pulled up and down by the boat. He said if he hadn't managed it on the last go, he was exhausted and he'd have had to drop me. So obviously a monumental effort that I can't ever thank him enough for. He's a lovely guy, and it's a difficult one to thank somebody for that, really.